Hi, I'm Michaela Cruz, and I'm a 9/11 survivor. On the morning of September 11th, I was at my desk on the 95th floor of Tower 2 when the first plane hit. Since then, I became a best-selling author, professional speaker, and most proudly, a yoga and meditation teacher. My number one passion is actually to perform selfless acts with others, giving my services to others without reward, because I think that really was my purpose. And that's what I want to continue to do through whatever teaching I decide to do or where the wind takes me. My life before 9/11 was spent with my friends, working nonstop, and not really caring about my life in general. It was more about being with friends was the most important thing to me, but not in the sense where I cared about their well-being. It was more like I wanted to go out. My life was pretty much Sex in the City on steroids. There was no sense of compassion, actually, and it was just basically one day to another, one night to the other. The morning of September 11th was a lot like what you see around you. It was basically a lot of people at the same time trying to get to the same place, the World Trade Center, but it was a beautiful day. It was September 11th, where it was Indian summer, where the weather was almost picturesque. It was about 70 degrees. I almost didn't go to work that day because it was so beautiful. I just wanted to go to the beach and just play hooky. I actually knew something was wrong when I got to my desk and my ex-boyfriend called me and wanted to know what my day looked like. And because we had broken up, I just wanted to just get on with my day. And all of a sudden, I heard the roar of an airplane engine. And then I felt a vibration and I saw a shadow coming across Tower 2. And all of a sudden I saw I didn't see the plane, but I felt the bomb. It actually felt like a bomb hit the World Trade Center. And that's when I took my pocketbook and ran out of the building. There was my coworker, Lori, actually, when I went to the stairwell and she grabbed me. She grabbed my arm and she said, we're not taking the stairs. You're coming with me into the elevator. And usually in an emergency situation, you do not take the elevator, you take the stairs. But she saved my life. She pulled me into the first elevator and then we got down to the lobby. My coworkers, most of the ones that were on my floor got out. A lot of them on the other floors did not. Because when I got to the lobby, the Port Authority told everybody that nothing was wrong with Tower 2, that it only happened to Tower 1. So a lot of my coworkers actually stayed. One friend in particular, Ryan, my friends were calling him and telling him to go downstairs, leave, and he just didn't. And I think what happened was a lot of people were just trying to get about their day, not knowing what was going to happen in the next few minutes. When I got into the elevator, I thought I died already. It was a surreal experience where I couldn't feel my body. I just knew that at some point I was going to get down to the lobby. I was going to survive this, but I felt like I had no control over my body. I was just standing there in the elevator like, okay, is this done? Are we all dead? We descended into the 90th floor, and all I saw were people just running around screaming. I saw some people on their phones trying to call their loved ones, and only one person out of all those people walked into the elevator with us, this guy named Dave. We descended into the 78th floor, which was a main elevator bank, and that held all of the big elevators. And Lori and I ran into the first elevator that we thought was available, and it was literally like a crowded subway, but even worse. There were people pushing and pushing, and until somebody said, no more people. The doors closed, and as soon as we started descending, that's really when I thought that I had died, because everybody was like looking either at each other or up above or kind of around, like, really, where are we? We got to the lobby, and I actually saw people going into the elevator. And then all of a sudden I heard the Port Authority say that nothing was wrong with Tower 2, that everybody can go back into Tower 1. Everybody can go back into Tower 2. So that's when I started seeing people. And then I saw a coworker go into the elevator, and I grabbed her. I said, you can't. I said, something hit the World Trade Center. You can't go to work. And she said, oh, okay, and she ran back out. I went outside to Liberty Street, and that's when I saw the second plane as it flew into Tower 2. I stood there. I don't really know how long I stood there. It was probably maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. And that's when I started seeing people jump from the towers. That in itself, because I didn't know the angle of the towers at the time, so I didn't know if that's were actually my coworkers or people from another company. Either way, there were office papers, there were computers, and there was one thing that stood out for me. It was an iron or steel beam that was laying along the sidewalk, and it was on fire. And to this day, if I smell like burning rubber or burning steel, that is a trigger completely. And that's one of the things that I know I have to accept. And it's not a fault, it's not a flaw, it's enough for me to say I'm still here and I can still feel, and that's okay. And because our company was so small, all of us, maybe there was like 10 of us who would hang out all the time after work. So they became really good friends. We'd go away together. And so when our friends were missing, because that's really what happened initially, everybody was missing, and we started to get calls from one person to another. They found someone. I think what was the most horrifying thing for me is when we were all in such shock that we didn't understand what we were saying. So one of my friends actually said they found one of my coworkers' fingers, and they knew that it was his finger because he had a wedding band on. That is, you can't, it's indescribable, but it's also another thing that we all as survivors can deal with. It doesn't matter if it's 9/11. It means that when you survive something, and you have to face it. The guilt that I experienced was basically the question behind why did I survive and why were they killed? And so I would have this recurring nightmare of of being trapped in the building. Oh, they were the ones who survived and I was the one who was killed. That was like a recurring nightmare. The nightmares stopped. It took maybe like 4 or 5 years. And the way I was able to start doing that is through meditation. Because meditation brought me back to the present, and it did not give me an ability to always look in the present, but I knew that even outside of meditation, wherever I was, and I was not in the past anymore. So before 9/11, I had an injury in my knee, and the doctor told me to actually start practicing yoga, and I said, I have no idea what that is. I'll have to do a headstand or something. I didn't know that the practice of asana, the physical practice of yoga, would be helpful in my healing process from 9/11, because I needed to be mindful in everything that I did. But then when 9/11 came, I stopped practicing yoga for a year. I stopped practicing meditation until the time when the first anniversary came. The first anniversary, I decided I'm going to start practicing until I could find healing. And in 2015, it actually took a long time, but in 2015, I became a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher. And now I teach a few times a week, and I love it. And I love how, as being a guide, it helps people in their own practice as well as motivate them to do their own type of meditation and yoga practice. Okay. So this is a bracelet with all the names of my coworkers at Fiduciary Trust Company International who passed away on September 11th. I got this, I think, a year after it happened, and every year I put it on and just remember my friends and remember the times that we spent together.